Hey, good morning, guys. Tush coming at you. It's 10:53, Saturday, August the 9th, and we just got an absolutely gorgeous day outside today. It's about 27 degrees Celsius, or supposed to be 27. It's about 20 right now, but yeah, looking really nice. Perfect day. So we're out in the garage today. Just a quick update on the TR3. I put this windscreen on just for fun, but I wanted to check to see if it was twisted, because this came off the parts car that was in quite a bad accident, and I wanted to make sure that there was no twist in the frame, because the car that was in the accident had a pretty severe twist in the body, so I was hoping that this frame was not actually twisted, since the chrome is in such good condition. So I wanted to make sure that this windscreen was going to work. And if it wasn't, I was going to have to send out the old screen that came on the race car, which is over here. And you can see the chrome is, I mean, the chrome's not bad, but it's pretty scratched and pitted, so I was obviously preferring to go with the one off the parts car. So that seems like it's going to work out okay. Of course, I need a new piece of glass, which I have in the basement, so we'll have to play around and install that at some point, but I just wanted to check, like I said, the screen for fitment. So we're good there. Seal fits really well. I do have a little bit of an issue with the where the aero screens fit. There's these couple of dome-headed nuts that go in. I think they're just decorative. They kind of push the seal out a little bit, so we're going to swap those out for some shorter dome-head nuts. And again, they're just decorative anyway. So that's pretty much it for today on the TR3. We're not going to spend any more time on this today. We're going to actually move on to working on the TR6. Got a big show tomorrow in Port Perry, Ontario. It's supposed to be another beautiful day tomorrow, very much the same as today. So we're looking forward to that. So what we're going to do today is we're going to clean this thing up a little bit. It's not in too bad a condition. I've been kind of working on it in the past few days, just doing a little bit of scrubbing here and there. But what we're going to do is we're going to take the trunk apart, and we're going to go through the tools and spare parts and that kind of stuff, and just sort of have an inventory of what's in there. I haven't driven this car on any sort of long drive this year, so tomorrow will be the first longish drive. It's about a 45 to 50 minute drive to Port Perry from here one way. So, and I've got a caravan of cars joining me here at my house tomorrow. I think we have about, I don't know, 8 or 9 cars coming, so we'll take some video of that tomorrow morning. So really what I want to do today is just spend some time on the TR6 and make sure it's in good shape and ready to go, and nice and clean. So that's what we're going to do. The TR6 will get some loving. Alright guys, we'll talk to you later. Just take a quick video of me repacking my tool bag that I carry around in the TR6. I was just going through and rebagging all my tools and just taking inventory of what I've got, because sometimes I end up taking a tool out and using it on a project that I'm working on in the garage, and I forget to put it back in. So I just want to make sure that I have everything that I think I might need if I have a possible breakdown on the road somewhere. Before I go on, I just want to say that from a reliability perspective, this car's been great. I think I'm going to knock on some wood, but the only issue I've ever had on this car in the past 7 years is a fuel pump went out on me. It took me 20 minutes to change it at the side of the road, actually in a McDonald's parking lot. And I had an alternator that was overcharging, and I actually carried a spare alternator with me, so I just swapped the alternator out in about 10 minutes. So those are the only issues I've had with this car. Having said that, I've traveled with a few people that have had some issues along the way, so I've been happy to have some tools and some spare parts with me to lend a hand where I might. So I thought I'd just sort of take you through what I've got sort of bagged up here as I repack my tool bag that just sits in the back of the car through the season. So here we go. So I just started throwing a couple things in there. So I've got a big hammer, of course. I've got a big sort of breaker bar that I use to get the lug nuts off my tires when required, and I've got a 3/4 inch open-ended wrench in there that doesn't fit into these bags that I pack my tools in, so that's what I've got in there so far. Oh, and I've got a magnetic pickup tool in there just in case I drop something that I can't reach. That's always good to have, because there are lots of little nooks and crannies on these cars that if you lose a nut or a bolt at the side of the road, it can help you out in a pinch. So my first bag that I have here is my sort of electronics bag, rotor. We've got caps, we've got a new backup Patronics in here. I've got electronic ignition in the car. So I've got another igniter module in here, as well as a backup set of points, breaker points, and condenser, that kind of thing. And I think I've got about 3 or 4 rotors in here, because I've been on a few trips where people's rotors have shorted out, fried out, whatever. So I always have an extra couple of rotors on hand just in case. So that bag definitely goes in there. I've got my screwdriver bag, and I tend to take actual screwdrivers, not like a multi-screwdriver, because I find that the multi-screwdriver has a hard time fitting into some spots on the TR6. It's not a bad idea to pack a multi, but generally I just have an assortment of screwdrivers. The only thing that I don't have in here is a what do I have in here? I have Phillips and flathead, so I don't have any Robertson screwdrivers. I don't think there are any Robertson fasteners on my TR6, so that's why I don't have the Robertson in here. So those go in the bag. Sockets, and I've got primarily the major ones that you're going to need are the 1/2 inch and the 7/16, and probably the 9/16 as well. Spark plug socket as well. So those definitely go in the bag. This is my other so wire connectors, fuses, some test lights. I usually take a VOM meter with me as well. I've got some electrical tape there. I've got the crimping tool for these connectors. You never know when you're going to have electrical issues along the way. And I travel fairly far away from home on some occasions. I've been as far as Tennessee in this TR6. I've been to Long Island, New Jersey. I've been to Oxford, Ohio, Galena, Illinois. I've been to Hershey, Pennsylvania. So I've driven this car fairly long distances. So it's good to have some preparations. What else do I got? So the rest of the open-end wrenches, and I've got a sort of combination of some ratcheting wrenches and some just regular open-end wrenches. I try to have 2 of each because usually there's double-ended fasteners where you'll need a wrench on either end of a fastener. So I try to have 2 of each of those. Again, as well as I've got the socket says as well. Let's go in. What else? What's next here? Just an assortment of vice grips and pliers and crescent wrenches and that kind of thing. They're always good to have. Vice grips are good for pinching off fuel lines if you have a fuel leak. So I have a couple pairs of those, including a needle nose pair in there. This is important if you're running a set of aftermarket rims like these Koenigs. So these have spline lug nuts. So I've got a spline lug nut wrench here, and I've got the large ratchet, and I've also got that breaker bar in there as well. But the important thing to have is the stock lug nuts that go on the stock spare, which I have in the trunk. So you got to make sure that you have a socket that's going to fit or the lug wrench that's going to fit the stock lug nuts, so you can actually put your spare tire on. So that's important. A lot of people forget that. So I will point that out. That goes in the bag. What else I got? Rain poncho, just in case you're out in the rain. That's generally when you're going to probably have a problem when you least expect it. Usually I carry a bit of contact adhesive, a little bit of gasket maker. I usually carry some of that. I usually carry some rubber gloves. Just keep the hands clean, especially on the side of the road where you don't have anywhere to wash your hands. Good idea to have those. This I don't really need. I'm going to not put that in. Usually I carry a couple of wheel chocks with me. If I have to jack the car up, I'll make sure it doesn't roll. So I just have some collapsible wheel chocks that I throw in the bottom of the bag. I've got one of these flashlights, the no battery flashlights. It's actually got it's the crank handle. So it's also got a little alarm on it, and it's also got a radio on it, so you can crank this up if need be and you'll have some light. It's always good to have a flashlight that doesn't require batteries, so I always carry that with me. I think you can actually use that to charge a cell phone as well. There's connections where you can actually connect to your cell phone and you can crank it and try to get a little bit of a charge in your cell phone. Zip ties, always got to have zip ties just in case, always good to have on hand. This is an Exacto Knife set that I usually bring with me. Regular battery powered mag light, always good to have. This is more for not necessarily breakdowns, but for tuning the car. So I've got the snail, this is the air meter. I've got a traditional air meter, and I've got a carb mixture tool in there as well. So I just have that in the TR6 because that's what it's for. I don't have another use for that at the moment, so I'll just carry that around with me. Sometimes people want to check their mixtures, when they're on the road and they don't have this tool. I'll sort of lend it out to them in the parking lot, so it's good to have that with me. And in relation to that, I always carry a vacuum gauge with me as well. I set my timing actually using a vacuum gauge, so and some people are always interested in learning how to do that, so I usually have the vacuum gauge with me as well. And I think that's it for tools. Yeah, it is. I have some spare parts in the bottom of the trunk underneath the spare tire cover, so maybe when I dig those out, I'll show you what I take as far as spare parts are concerned. Okay, taking the carpet out of the trunk, and I just wanted to give you a quick shot of what the actual trunk looks like on a TR6 if you're not familiar. It's actually a fairly good sized trunk for a little two-seater sports car, so you can even get a set of golf clubs in there if you want to. Anyway, there's the trunk board that hides the spare tire, so I'm going to remove the trunk board. That just lifts up easily. I'll stick it over here. And then we've got the original, not the original, but the red line spare. And if we go back to what I mentioned in the tool bag section about having the spare lug nuts to fit the original spare, that's critical. Anyway, I'm going to go through and take a look at what I got here as far as spare parts that I've got tucked around the spare. And we'll just take a quick inventory and restow those. I'll pull them out and maybe take a quick video to show you what I carry along for spare parts. I'll take you through the trunk contents pretty quickly. So spare heater valve, because the heater valves on these cars, the seals are known to go fairly frequently and can leave you sort of stranded at the side of the road with a big puddle of coolant boiling on top of your exhaust manifold and a cloud of steam. I usually carry a bundle of wire. This has helped in the past when people have dropped an exhaust pipe or whatever, something needs to be wired up. It's always good to have a little bit of wire. I usually carry some spare spark plugs, of course the jack, the lug wrench, and the handle for the jack. Some more zip ties, a spare coil. I've got a couple different types of fuel pumps. Like I said, I've only had issues with fuel pumps on this car, so I've got a stock Italian made and another different one. I usually carry a little bit of spare fuel line. As you can see here, I've got some spare here and I got a spare here. I got a fan belt, although it's a pain in the ass to change the fan belts on these cars, but it can be done. I usually carry a spare fuel filter. These are a spare set of rad hoses, the clamps, and these are just some, again, other bits and bobs, some O-rings, some hose clamps, some light bulbs, some more fuses, etc. That's generally what I carry in my trunk. And then I just have this little small bin which I carry, which is my sort of cleaning department. Some other few things in here. I usually carry some .5 since I'm running .5 in my clutch and brake systems. Some Aerospace 303, usually Windex, some detailer. I like this tire shine. This is some bug remover. The Rain-X is really good. Obviously the windshield wipers don't work real good on these cars, so the Rain-X is fantastic. I usually carry a little bit of touch-up paint because if I'm on a gravel road and I get a stone chip, I sort of treat it right away. Some VR1, which I run. I usually carry a little bit of fluid film. This is a gas treatment that I use. Always some sunscreen, some chrome polish, and usually some interior detailers. That's about it, guys. So that's the tour of the trunk. Oh, and a CAA card. Alright guys, a quick shot of her back together. So tools and chemicals and such are back in place, ready to go for tomorrow. We've got some microfiber cloths there. So we're good to go. Just remember, life's too short to drive boring cars. Hey guys, just coming up to 10 o'clock, and it's actually a really nice night out. It's supposed to be a really nice day tomorrow, so I'm happy about that. Car is packed and ready to go. We've got the GPS set. We've got the lawn chair in here. We just got to bring the cooler out tomorrow morning. We got the ice packs on the freezer. So we should be good to go. I didn't really do too much cleaning on the car. We'll do a little bit of a wipe down when we get to the show tomorrow. But other than that, should be good to go. I got 10 cars arriving here at the house tomorrow at around 7 o'clock in the morning, so we'll have to be up bright and early and get out here and get the car out in the driveway and warmed up. And then we're meeting about 3 more people en route, so we should have about 13 cars all together rolling into the show. So that's a good little number to be running with a caravan. So anyway, we'll upload this tonight and we'll bring you back some video from the show tomorrow. Talk to you later, guys.